Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast. Thank you for all my return visitors and all my subscribers. I so appreciate you. You are the reason I am here. I have a real artist with me today, and I never wanted to emphasize the word artist more than I do today. I have Harkness with me. Harkness is a Toronto-based artist, a multi-instrumentalist that plays and produces all of his quirky, eclectic, brilliant traditional psych rock pop music. It's hard to put it in a box. He even has his own hot sauce and
That's right.
cooking
That's
show,
right.
possibly. Uh, so we'll talk about that. Harkness has a brand new single called "Falling." Also has a new full length record ready coming out on April 17th called "Ciao To The Beauty." And there's also a feature film documentary about Harkness coming out in April as well. And I feel like the list goes on and on and on. You're such a busy guy, and things are happening. It's great to have you, Harkness.
Right on. Thank you. Harkness is here. Great to be here.
Absolutely, man. It is cool. We've had a long history. I got your music. I think it was from Roger Manning, who we both have a mutual friendship and respect for.
Yeah,
Jellyfish and Beck, of
yes,
course. Uh,
absolutely.
and
Mhm.
you've just blossomed and continued what you do. It's just so great to see you thriving like this.
Well, it's interesting. I've just been, when you dive into the ocean, you see something gold shining below you, and you just keep swimming and chasing it. You never touch it, but you're furiously go. That's what the last 6 years have been. It's just like, and tons of music has come from that, and then this film and the hot sauce and all sorts of stuff that we can get into. But falling is the latest little gem. It just dropped or came out 2 days ago. But I've been too busy. This is the first thing. Like I'm so grateful to be here with you. This is the first time I've done anything, said anything about it, or I just been too busy to even launch it, you know?
It's great, and I thank you for being here and talking about it. Because it's special. Your music is very, it's different. You have billions of bands and artists at your fingertips now, but I really don't have this kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like I say, it's hard to put in a box. Psych rock, a traditional pop. I feel
Yes.
a
Yeah.
60s vibe. I feel a lot of different things from your music, and I really appreciate that. Where did that musical journey start? Now, you both your parents musical, correct?
Yes, yes. So I blame them. My dad, just maybe like your father as well, had a vast vinyl collection that I would always fake sick to listen. I can't go to school today, so I would just go through all his stuff. And it was everything from the Carpenters to Miles to Stravinsky to John Lennon solo albums, everything you could possibly want, Billie Holiday. And I'm listening to Billie Holiday as a kid going, who is this skeleton woman, wounded, sing like what? And just going through all of these things. And so when I write tunes, there's zero a goal in mind as far as genre, or gonna try to do this, or I'm gonna do that. It's just floodgates, see what comes. And sometimes it's very, very simple. Like Falling didn't need any darkness or sophistication, really. It just needed candy and wings. So
Man,
that just kind of came with it.
I love it. I love it. And these are quick hits too. The last record,
Right.
few longer things. Uh,
Yes.
this all quick hits. I know you like to call it the Harkness jukebox. And that is fun. You hit that number, and you're on to the next one right
Yeah.
after. But
Yeah.
it's a sing along, and it's a fun experience.
It is. I hope that it's one of those that flies by too, because they're all so short. They all fly by, and you want to just get the needle back to be like, what did I just get through? Like, just keep that motion going. I snuck in that one song. I don't know, Scott, if you've had a chance to listen to the whole thing because it's not out yet. but I might have sent you some secret stuff. There's a song called "The Sea and the Fool Who Won't Sail It" that is kind of snuck in there. It's a little more epic. I think it's like 4.5, but that's a lot of my um, my guilty pleasures are on there with the low bassoons and the piano harps, and it's just a little bit more effed up. But really, I had to express some of that in the Candyland of the rest of it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And and like I say, it moves me in many different directions. There are things like that.
Mhm.
It's
I
any
hope so.
formal and any formal music education other than your parents playing and things like that. Because there's so much vocal layering and
Mm.
all of these instruments, and this just doesn't seem like something that could be self-taught. Uh, it's just you do so much and you do it so well. Is
Mm.
there a formal music education background?
Yes, but pretty limited. I would say that the biggest education that I had was with the local musicians that I played with and wrote with and things like that. I feel like maybe it's the same for everybody that you speak to, but I feel like unbelievably lucky with these what I call geniuses all around me in my youth. And they're usually a couple years older that would say, "Hey, come into our band." And I would just try to be keeping up with these monster guys who would know incredible guitar chords or play the sax like a freak or everything you can imagine. Unbelievable drummers. Like let's get the timing and all. So there was so many things that I learned just by being in these bands. And I did take piano when I was four for 2 or 3 years or 4 years or whatever it was. I have brothers and sisters who I think were generally more talented than I was because they would just sonata out crazy. And I was just doing Imagine. I was li listening to the record, just going ding, 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 ding. So I had that kind of training, and then I had some guitar lessons for that would just show you a few little scales and stuff, and then didn't do that for long. And then I did get heavy into the bass a lot more than anything else. I had some serious bass teachers. I had a guy named Randy Coven who's now passed away, but a long time ago, he was really fronted kind of the fusion bass stuff, and he really helped my technique. And then I have to go on a little bit more about this because I had the luck of having a teacher named Laura Caesar, who was a bass player. She studied with a guy named Jim Blackley, who's a drummer, and he taught Miles Davis's drummers. Jim Blackley is a legendary rhythm guy. And so I studied with someone who had studied with him. That was the biggest gift. And this is more about timing and getting a metronome down to a 40 where you're like, and it's et cetera, but you're getting comfortable with all these heavy tempos that usually people don't spend time with. And
Right.
so that was like a couple of years with that. But I'd say compositionally, most of it was from listening to Beethoven or listening to the Beatles or Beach Boys and sitting at the piano and going, I don't even know exactly what this is, but getting it under my skin and understanding it. And with the Beatles, you could understand how they group their vocals and things like that. So I did a lot of ear stuff just with singles and albums and stuff like that. That was the main stuff. It was pretty much self-taught in that way. I think the juiciest stuff is self-taught for sure.
Yeah. See, and that's astounding. I listened to it and it's just it sounds so polished and educated and it's
Mm.
sophisticated pop music to me and I don't find that. Like I said, we have billions at our fingertips now, but
Yeah,
I can get a lot of genres, but I can't get like a jellyfish. I
yeah, which
miss
still, oh,
and this is, that type of thing. Whereas it's a simple hook with all the little nuances of the instrumentation.
yeah.
That is really, it's a wonderful thing. It really is.
Right. Good to hear. Hopefully, when you're composing like that, you're letting the song dictate, and you don't end up putting any more than is necessary. I mean, my stuff, I think, has tons of shit going on, but I don't think you know it so much. Like it's just a
Yep.
nice song falling, that kind of thing. Um, but I hope that it doesn't sound overworked or a guy trying to do anything because I'm not trying to do anything except for honor the tune, get it
Yeah.
just in
And that's
zone.
just it. Everything is for the benefit of the song. You'll bring in a tuba, which is, an overwhelming, strong instrument, right?
Yeah, I
But
get
it's
it.
just a tad, just a, boom,
That's exactly.
boom, boom, and it's gone.
It
Uh,
may have four notes on a whole song for sure.
Right, but they make the whole thing tick. So it's the little things like that. Just like the xylophone pieces that kind of
Yeah,
accent the lyric at points. You know, just just brilliant stuff.
right. Yeah,
One little chime. If there's the word doorbell or something, and you hear
yeah,
a chime, it's
yeah.
that kind of nuance that.
Very minimal. Very minimal.
Right, right. It's
Yeah.
not overwhelming, but it's a spark, and it's beautiful. And that's the composition. Like I say, it screams formal education in composition.
Wow, that's cool.
Just great. Uh,
Can I say one more thing that just came to
Please.
mind that I realized that I hadn't thought about in so long? One of my jobs when I was 19 to 22 or that kind of thing was I thought, well, I don't want to work at McDonald's and all that. Why don't I go to where the symphony plays? And I was an usher for about 4 years there, 3 or 4 years. And I think that's where a huge amount just seeped in of hearing all that tonality and English horn, this and that, and
Yeah,
hearing it for real. I think that had a deep, deep effect on me for sure. That
yeah,
condensed thing, just internally, is a vibe more than anything else.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
mhm.
so great that
Just
that
remember.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's really cool. Let's talk about falling a little bit.
Okay.
Inspired by a vivid dream, which a lot of your stuff, maybe not a lot, but there's a few inspired
Yes.
dreams.
Oh,
Uh,
for for
I
sure.
wish I could do that. I wish I had the dreams that you had. This is really cool. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, there was a phase where songs really started coming in dreams almost entirely, and there's several albums. And it's just unbelievably vivid. And I would say that before Falling and before a few of these other ones, you would get little bits in dreams or you'd wake up. And I eventually decided to get a dictaphone to have right by my bed. So I've got like tons and tons of these, like these mumbled melodies and stuff like that that I'm dying to get to that are all from dreams. But something like Falling was so fully formed and so it's like turning on a radio, like, and then I luckily woke up right away with it. Still, like I can remember that, and so it was that clear. The harmony, the whole chorus was exactly, and the writing of it was. I mean, I think and what I usually do is I have a dictaphone, so I'll sing it as I'm running down the stairs. Vision after she was falling, and I'm like reach for the guitar, getting the chords, and then I start recording the things that okay, got the chorus and the verse and before and I'm getting like weird goose pimples because I'm remembering how it feels like an emergency. Like it feels like this is a fucking emergency. I have to get
Right.
this tiger in the net. And it feels like this strange amount of energy that just comes in this super focus. And then 20 minutes later, it's there. I got it. I got a new tune.
That's
And
awesome.
that's how few of them on this album. I guess it's Falling was like the most crystal, and then Look at All the Love was one, and All the Things You Are. Those were all very heavy dream, heavy scramble, and get it down. So
Wow.
fun, just so fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. What a great way to wake up.
I know, yeah.
Very cool.
I I think anyone can do it, and it's just, I think all of us are equally gifted if we just kind of relax a few inner muscles and like, whoa.
Well, you've really channeled it for sure. You really channeled that. You got a guest musician on the song. She plays harp. Now,
Yeah.
this is really a great story. Tell me a little bit about her and how you found her.
So I'm constantly looking for musicians, and I knew for Falling that I needed a harp player. And I actually hadn't used harp on any songs. I've got this piano harp, it's just behind me. I won't move my stuff, but where I can fake harp and I do stuff, but I needed a real harp player. and I will go to malls and go all the places because sometimes at Christmas time I know, oh, they have a harp and get cards and try and do things, but it wasn't panning out. And then I saw this absolutely beautiful small woman in a Tinkerbell dress, and I thought, what the? And she just stood out in the whole mall. It's like, come get me, like without
Right.
question. If she was wearing normal clothes, I wouldn't have noticed. But so she's just like, I'm here in her Tinkerbell thing. So I said, what, what's with the dress kind of thing? Oh, I'm a harpist. And this was right when I was looking for a harpist.
How
And so
wow.
got her number, got her contact details before I know it. We're lugging this huge harp down my mom's stairs into this bunker of a studio that I have, and she's playing, and she's incredible. Like she's wonderful. Like, wow. Who knew whether she was grade one harp or grade 12? I didn't know. Let's just
Right.
try.
Right.
And she plays the intro in falling, and that's all. But I needed it, and she was wonderful to work with, super good vibe. We filmed it all for the movie, so her scene, a little bit of her scenes in the film is pretty funny.
Awesome.
Um, but the next part was, and I just met this girl, and we're just bringing the harp back upstairs, type of thing. And I said, so where are you off to now? And she's like, oh, I'm going to my Taylor Swift rehearsal. It's like, what? So Taylor Swift was rehearsing in Toronto and somehow poached the same harpist that plays on Falling. So
Unbelievable.
Taylor and I share a harpist. Hopefully, yeah, to be honest, Taylor, I really don't know her repertoire. I know I must have heard a few. In fact, I know I have. I might
Right.
have mixed it up with other stuff. And I'd love to. Oh, sorry. Briefly, I asked her about Taylor. I said, "Oh gosh, you're going to how long have you been doing it?" So she did the whole big tour with Taylor. She was the harpist for the whole tour. I
Wow.
asked her about Taylor in rehearsals. I said, "Does she have a musical director?" And then she just comes in. She said, "No, Taylor. Yes, she does, but Taylor is the man or the woman, and really is extremely clear and communicative with the musicians. She's like a true artist for sure, from what I've heard, which is
Yeah.
fantastic to hear."
It is. It really is. Yeah. And that was just such a huge tour.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. That's great. And when you listen to Falling, everybody, make sure
yeah.
you catch that bit.
Mhm.
And keep that in mind. These stories, I just, enhance the listening experience even more.
For
Uh,
sure,
just
for
so
sure.
great.
Her
Um,
name is Denise Fung, just to kind of give her that. Denise Fung, I think is her
okay.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Mhm.
Um, there's a song that has a really cool psychedelic 60s dance party vibe called Kisses We Invent. Uh,
Oh,
has
yeah.
another vocalist on it that
Oh,
I thought was
yeah.
an interesting touch.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, that was a breakup song. I was dating a really creative artist girl. She actually painted one of my basses. Her name's Danette Relic. And she was an unbelievable woman and really, really sharpest, one of the sharpest people I've ever met. And she really helped my art and everything in every way. It was a really incredible relationship, but not meant to be. We broke up and I wrote Kisses We Invent. And she's not a singer per se, but whenever she mumbled things in the car or wherever, I thought she's got a I like that tone. And so we had broken up. It's a breakup song. Can you sing Kisses We Invent? Can we kind of miss each other in the chorus and sing it together? And we did. And so I think that adds some reality to the song rather than getting just any old girl to sing because I wanted a girl's voice on there. So I got the girl that we broke up with.
That is just so unique. I read that and I was like, wow, that is just, and it shows, two very fine people that can, you know, uh,
Absolutely.
y-
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
let the troubled water under the bridge kind of thing, just keep flowing. Yeah, that's
Doesn't have to.
beautiful.
Doesn't have to be a mess.
Yep, yep, it's beautiful. And we could all learn from that for sure. Um, the same might be my favorite song on the record.
Wow, that is fantastic to hear. That
Uh,
is makes
just
my for sure.
It is
Wow.
very different. It feels
Mhm.
stripped down, with a darker vibe.
Mm.
But there's a string section and the auto harp, and it's just a
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful song. But it feels so simple, but yet there's so much going on.
Mhm.
It's really, really great. It's just a beautiful song. But then, funny enough,
Mhm.
View from the Moon, another huge favorite,
Wow.
completely opposite. Uh,
Complete.
the happy song that just fills you up with joy.
Yeah.
Um, do you find something, those two things, completely
Mm.
different vibe. When you're
Mhm.
writing, do you find one more difficult than the other? Is happy just come easy and the darker stuff a little more complex? Or is it just, that they're just songs like any
Yeah,
other?
I think that's a great, valid question. And if you ask me honestly, because I've been doing this quite a while, I mean, the visor hides a few crow's feet. Um, but yeah, I have been doing it a long time. So if you asked me that maybe 15 years ago, I might have had an answer like, oh yeah, this is definitely harder to achieve. But really, I'm not trying to blow a horn here, but really for the last, I'd say 10 years at least, everything has been a flow. And I have to say, everything's been easy. I'm lying a tiny bit. I'm lying a tiny bit. And what I'm lying about is every once in a while, there might be one moment in a song where and it's so important to me that it might rack my brain like, should I add an extra beat there just for an effector? Those silly surface things are the only thing that give me a hmm. But the songs and the songwriting, I only write if it's turned on. Like if the flow, the tap is going, I get the cup and fill. That's what I've been doing for a long, long time. And I have to say that it's on an effortless groove. It's there are moments, like I said, there's for sure construction moments where you have to make decisions, but the initial creation, whether it's a heavy ballad or a super happy thing, it's this exact same energy. You're like, here you go.
That's wow, that's got to feel great. The young artist almost never has that.
Yeah.
There's always some work to be done.
Yeah.
The flow is a real gift.
I think I know how I got there, and I want to talk to any other artists out there briefly. I know a lot of songwriters and incredible songwriters, and a lot of them, or most of them, are very self-critical. So they've got this riff, and it's just not good enough. I can't don't have a good enough chorus, and they've got this constant stunting and constant stopping of the ideas and the flow because they're judging it as it comes and all that jazz, right? They just it's got to be good. It's got to be good. I wrote before I got into the flow, I wrote crazy amounts. And my dogma thing was just finish the song. It doesn't have to be good.
Right.
Just write. Like, okay, here's an idea. I'm seeing it through. Where does it go? Where does it go? Where does it go? Done. Put it in the drawer. Here's another. And most of them are crap. And most of them are just you're not going to play it for anybody. But you get, and I think that's how the flow, and then suddenly you're elevating because you practice or you wrote so much and you've got a vocabulary or something has built up inside you that can say things clear or whatever. And then 5 years of letting things just go, 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 go. Now you're now you're in the flow. You're in like a flow that's indescribable.
Yeah.
I think it's the key is to write garbage and lots of garbage and don't be afraid of it. Finish everything and move on.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then soon the good shit will come.
Yeah, look at that. That's some pretty great advice.
I hopefully it helps.
Yeah. And I would imagine it would work for some and not work for others, maybe. But
Perhaps.
not too many try it though. That's the problem,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think we're all a little bit scared to finish
Yeah,
it and not have it be good. Uh,
that's true. Yeah.
but
Hmm.
yeah, I've heard that analogy of, like the baseball player. The great baseball player gets 30% of the swings are hits, and that's the greatest. So, the other 70% is, you're out of there. So it's kind of
Yeah.
that thing
Should expect
where,
that. Mhm.
yeah, if you can get 3 out of 10 of them keepers, that's
Yeah.
pretty darn great.
You can get one keeper in your life. That's great, right? If you
Sure.
got one nugget, it's like, woo.
Yeah. So, yeah, great advice. Great advice. Um, The Occasion debut record.
Oh,
2021. Uh,
mhm,
how do you, when you look back, I mean, there's growth, even from that point. You've been doing
mhm,
this a very long time.
mhm, mhm.
Um, was it, how different is that record for you as the artist? I listened to it. It's Harkness for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
But like I say, there's a little longer pieces, and there's
Yeah.
a slight differences. Uh, as an artist, do you feel like you've gone to a different place a little bit?
For sure. For sure I have. And not just that Ciao To The Beauty says that, but what I'll tell you privately amongst the public here is that I've written so many other songs that I've probably got 39 or so on the go in the studio right now that are being recorded. And I think that that next body says it even more. I don't think they're more hit like falling to me. I don't think I can do better than falling. I can just do different kind of thing. And
Right.
I think that the body that I'm talking about, this future body that's already in the way, it's just more free sounding, I think. Like it just goes off cliffs, but in a way that feels right rather than, I would say even in the occasion, there's moments in there. I don't think anything's forced at all, but I just think things are feeling even more natural and free, even though they're taking a sharp left. Like, where are we going? But why does it feel so right? I still think that I was fairly successful with the occasion, but
Oh yeah.
that's what I feel inside me is like, okay, I think it's getting even more seamless. And before I it's like a bit clunky here and there, you're
Yeah.
doing and everything.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a great feel. Like I say, it's just fun. It's a fun listen. Uh,
right. Yes,
Even the
yeah.
darker vibe is just
Mhm.
you feel part of it. It's really
Good, good. Oh, so happy you like the same. That's
yeah.
good.
Is there one particular song that sits a little closer to your heart? I know that look at all the love. You reference some dark times,
Yeah,
and I love
yeah,
that transformed you kind of
yeah,
thing. It's very personal.
yeah.
Is there a particular song on the record that just hits a little bit different for you?
Yeah. There are several, but I do think that if I have to put one in the front of the line, there's two butting heads right now in my mind. But I think it's probably all the things you are,
Mhm.
believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because of perhaps what I had gone through to get where I got to just internally, like some struggles. And music was such a big part of helping me hold on to life. Like whether it was a Prince song or just some of the lyrics or the moments were like, Jesus, thank God for saying that right now and getting it to me. And I know that there's a part of me with all the things you are, which came in a dream as well, but there's an energy in it that is broken but found, or there's something about it. It's all the things you are, like including the damage, bring the damage, bring the great, and there's something when I sing it, when I get to the higher part and the vocal and the chorus and the upper range and all that, it's somewhere else to most of the other songs. It's really just, I don't even know where I go.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that's
yeah.
it. Like,
It's transcendent, and that's pretty cool. It's got to be great as the artist too, for sure. Tell me about Maria Marquina,
oh
uh,
my God.
and how the film came about. And I look at Maria Marquina. I pulled it up. She's probably the most beautiful woman in the world.
Aw, I
She is
agree.
just
I agree.
wow. I
You
pulled it
should meet
up.
her
I
in
said,
person.
and wow, it was just stunning. She's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Uh, Storyline Entertainment, in association with the documentary channel,
Yes.
the
Yes.
film, she directed this, put it together.
Uh-huh.
Tell me about her and how it all happened.
My gosh. Well, how do I start? I'll try not to make it too long because it's been the adventure of a lifetime being with her for the last 5 years. From the very moment the egg got cracked and the yolk kind of spilled, I was like, whoa, like where are we going with this little thing? Um, I I've all in the past I've worked at restaurants, and I worked at one that had a particularly large staff. So you could go quite a while without really knowing people or knowing what each other's does. One day, Maria and I were doing ketchups or whatever it was, and she might ask me, "What do you do?" And I said, "What do you do?" kind of thing. I said I was a musician. She said, "Oh, she was doing her master's in documentary film at the Ryerson, which is a local Toronto school." And she said, "Oh, well, I need to do a quick project for something. I need a subject. Can we do something?" And that was the initial, yeah, sure, come to my door. I might have been mid rehearsal, but there's a chance that I open the door like this or similar. And she was like, "What the?" And so, come on in. And I was, showing her stuff. And if I pan to my studio, you get it's a little Willy Wonka-esque. So she was kind of scratching her head as she met me for the first time and came in. Long story short is we filmed something really quickly of me doing some drums or something for some song, and she did her piece, which she got a grade. But as I drove her home after that first time that we were together, I was picking her brain, and this genius of a woman, which I'm not kidding, like one of the most genius people in my life, and I've had so many, but she is just like a new gem of a genius. She's saying, "Well, I love Tarkovsky and David Lynch," and she's just like ringing all these bells in my head, like. And I've always wanted to do a documentary, and I started one years ago with another friend. I've got like half-baked documentaries already, and she's saying David Lynch and Tarkovsky, and so I'm going, let's make this in my mind, let's make it bigger. And eventually she entered using like a tiny little bit of that she did on me into a breakthrough program here in Toronto, here in Ontario, where only 9 people in a huge province get chosen. She got chosen for that. And then she had experts coming in, expert editors, producers, directors, um, helping these chosen ones. And she ended up winning the grand prize of 20 grand. Someone who was an expert coming in to help saw the project, saw the little bit that she was working on, and we had since expanded it and come on over, let's film more. And he said, this has got to be a feature-length film. And that's what happened. And then he took it. He's an Emmy award-winning producer. So big time guy. He said, and so he got financing. It's a full finance feature-length film. And pure luck, pure from a little conversation, little small talk. And before you know it, we've got it's had a premiere at the Whistler Festival, and it's
It's
wild. It's
so
crazy.
cool. I watched the little 1 minute sizzle reel there,
Oh,
and it is just, there's this simplicity and uh,
yeah.
humor to it, and
Oh, yeah.
innocence to it, and yeah, it just and the music put in there, and your performance and things like that, and it is just this. You want to hug it, you know what I mean? It's
Ah,
like
that's a great
it
description.
it
It's a,
really, it's something I'm just dying to see. I can't wait till this hits. Uh,
oh, good.
it's going to be available in Canada on CBC Gem. Uh,
That's right.
you
April
know,
14th.
and I'm here, in America, in Chicago area.
We'll
I
get it to you.
don't know really what that is, but I'm going to look into it for sure. Any plans to distribute it internationally? Maybe get it on some, networks that way.
Well, 100% they're working on it. And I think what the tough thing is that there's been evolution in documentary filmmaking. And I think 10 years ago, it was a little cool to have an unknown artist or all these quirky things. Lately, most of the functioning places, whether it's Netflix or lots of other places that run documentaries, they want established artists. They want cash cows. They want definite this, or they want a political the problem to address and to look so they look good kind of thing. It's
Right.
really hard to get the unknown out there onto the bigger stage than it was in the past. I want to say one last thing about Maria and I. We spent more time together one-on-one alone, her filming me to creating falling and all the things you are. She was there for most of the sessions, me rehearsing, me at the piano, every failure, everything, and she was the crew. It was just her and I with a camera. It was unbelievably intimate, and the love between us was very, very real, very, very profound how much we fell for each other. And and I think that that's probably in the film. I think there's some real heart, and that comes from Maria's sensitivity to who she learned that I was, and what she brought out of me. Because before we did her way, let's put it that way, I was like, let's make a mysterious documentary where people don't know what the hell's happening, but if they put it together in their own mind, they'll get something really cool, like just a breadcrumbs of weirdness and montages. And we considered that, but once we got financing, that wasn't going to fly with anybody. So she was just, I want all of you. And I was like, no way, I want to keep a mystery. I don't want to share all of that. I want to be Bob Dylan. That's for sure. That's where I want to be, was very much like, no, I'm not giving you just a little. But she tore down every single wall in a very, made me feel safe and warm. And she got it all. She's got like 1,000 hours of,
Wow.
of
Wow.
nuts.
That's and I'm sure that comes through. I mean, there's
Yeah.
something, when you have a love like that and an intimacy like
Intimacy.
that, that that it irradiates.
Yeah,
We
I hope
feel
so.
it. You want that for yourself, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
I think everybody feels that for sure. Like I
Yeah.
say, I cannot wait. It's great. I want to ask you about live performance. We see a little
Mhm.
bit there, um,
Yes.
and you have the guitar, um,
Uh-huh.
but you do so much. There's so much involved with the music. Do you
Mhm.
have other players play with you, or do you play to a track? How do you do your live performance?
So I'll send you a just a still of my setup, just in case it's something you can show. You don't need to, but it's a definite outside of the box setup. In the past, I had a 9, 10 piece band. I had horns and backup vocalists, and every time I played, which was probably only about 5 times, I went $500 in the tank. Like I was, because I had to pay them. I wanted them to do it exact way.
Right.
And it was impossible. I can't realize I couldn't afford it. So I devised something with Ableton. So I've got custom stands of a guitar floating, a bass floating, a keyboard floating, and I wear a wireless mic. So I don't have a microphone that I have to worry about. So I can be singing while I'm in between instruments. And so I can be bass in the verse, guitar in the chorus, keyboard solo,
Okay.
in one song, moving around the instruments. That's one part of it. With art decorations, of course, it's got to be all, do something with it. But
Right.
I finally got to share this with you, Scott. I've been wanting a drummer forever, and I've been yelling it at every gig and doing posts and putting posters up for a couple of years now. And I've had many auditions of nearly, because I want it to be hellishly good. I
Yeah.
found somebody about a month ago, and we've just started rehearsing, and we had wicked rehearsal yesterday. So I've always wanted a modern White Stripes. White Stripes, just
Yeah.
Jack White, just his energy, what he does, mind-blowing artist. Is just very inspiring. Not saying modern in any better way than him, that's for sure. But my stuff's a little bit more weirder, I guess. But I've got it. And I've got this guy, he's on electronic drums, but I've been able to use the exact drum sounds from my album and take them and import them. So
Yeah.
Sugar Bitch sounds different than Kisses We Invent, sounds different than the scene. And it's really working. It's working so good. And then we expand outros and we do different trippy things. It's gonna be killer. We haven't
Ah,
played it. We haven't played yet.
okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Will that change the way you record a little bit? Because I mean, do you prefer doing things yourself usually? Because you have in the past. You're in control. You
Yeah.
want to put something there, you just put it there.
Mhm.
You don't have to consult. You don't, there's not another person to,
Good point.
so would having a drummer, another person in a band,
Mhm.
uh, change the way you record and write a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, that's a super interesting one. And because I've been doing it so long the same way and I'm stubborn and all the rest of it, I would have normally said no. But yesterday I was at the piano just warming up and I was playing a tune. And did I ever think, I want to get him to play live with me on piano while I sing. And, should I get some more? Should I try to do more ensemble? Like, so I'm starting to think differently. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but without question, he is such a great person and he's such a great drummer and he's been contributing wicked ideas. And I haven't had that in my creation process lately. So I just started fantasizing about that very thing of working a bit differently, which might also be faster because things take me. When I do the drums, I'll give you an example. When I do the drums myself, I will set up a beautiful kick drum and I have a mallet and I just boom, boom. And then I will set up the hi-hat and I do that. And then I'll
Wow.
have one tom if the tom fill is do 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 boom 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 boom. I will do one tom at a time because I want three mics and I only have three good channels. I only have three good channels of gear. So I can't do multi big things unless I rent stuff, and that's financial. So I'm doing ridiculous construction of songs.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. Again, uh, the studio stuff, self-taught, all of that, working tracks, layering and all that.
Mhm.
You all learn that. I mean, you just learn that by, trial and error.
Necessity, yeah, for sure.
Wow.
With the help of friend like emailing. How do I do this? When I started, and I'm not kidding, I had a 4-track, which is tape and all that kind of stuff for
Right.
forever. I had that into late nine, like wow, but recently, let's just put it that way, before I got on my gear. So I was all tape and all that stuff. Someone said, you'll be able to expand more, do all those things you dream of on a computer, and you'll have more tracks and stuff like that. It's okay. I didn't know what undo was. I was doing sessions and I'd hit something, someone would disappear. I'm like, fuck, what happened? And I got like, what you might and I didn't and 6 months in, some say, well, you know what undo is? I know what's undo. I had no idea what I was doing for the while I was recording songs that I was dying to record, and it was taking me forever because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing
Wow.
at all. But because now it's been 15 years or so of the computer stuff, and every call being answered by someone who's better than me at it, I've got my cheat sheets and my notes, and I go back to it. But I definitely I approach the studio and computer like a tape recorder. I don't do samples and I don't do loops and I don't do drum machines. It's just like a tape recorder. Record some strings. There's the strings.
And you know what? I think it comes through because it is the production on your stuff is just it's immaculate in the way it's assembled. And I had no idea that it was assembled quite like that. So
One brick at a time, one
wow,
instrument at a time.
wow, unbelievable, unbelievable.
I'd say closer to psychotic than
Yeah, that I can't even imagine it. But
a
boy,
little bit.
you do an amazing job at it. Will we see you on the road? Are you going to take the show on the road?
I am dying to, and I've been desperately trying to reach out to peers in the way that I did with Roger Manning. Like that was Beck came to town, hanging out at the side door with a CD with Roger's name on it and all that kind of stuff. And I've been doing that for anybody that I think might, first of all, be a peer and want to work together, because that would be fantastic. But here, let me put it this way: the Lemon Twigs. Are you familiar with the Lemon Twigs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Lemon Twigs, who I only discovered midsummer or so, like fairly recently, I went, holy smokes, are these guys ever talented and wonderful songwriters? And they should be way bigger than they are, but I know the climate, they're not exactly what the climate is, but they're just mind-bogglingly talented. And they're playing a small bar in a couple months here in Toronto. And fuck, wouldn't I be the best Toronto opening act for them? Shouldn't I be the one to play with them with my music and their music? And just, you beat your own chest and go, I'm the one for this kind of thing. So I DM'd them, I contacted their management, I contacted PR, I did Instagram stories tagging them, hey, Lemon Twigs, it's Harkness, and I'm playing Falling or whatever. Like, let me open up for you. couldn't break through. But then I went to the show, I met them, gave them my vinyl, gave them USB with stuff, and I want to be your friend, all that kind of stuff. But I
Right.
sincerely think that that's the not the only way, but if I could tour with something like the Lemon Twigs and tour, that God, that is just absolute nirvana for me to get associated with people that I respect and then get on tour with them. And then if I can help them in any way too. But what I'm really trying to say is it's so incredibly difficult to do it, to tour being Canadian in the US financially and everything without a little bit of a big brother helping you like the Lemon Twigs or whoever else.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And that
so
that would be
I'm
great to get on something like that for sure.
be great
Yeah.
double bill, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I hope you get response because I'd love to see it out here, on the road, and I mean, Canada's not too far from me, so
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Did you say Chicago?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've
So,
played Chicago once
oh, oh,
as Harkness. I did, and it was before that we met for sure. I played some international pop festival. Somehow the promoter heard my stuff and said, "Can you make it?" And I said, "Damn right, I'll be there." And
that's
I
cool.
I'll go and
That's cool.
play.
Do you remember the venue you played?
I think it was a coffee shop or something that I said all my. I was like this in a coffee shop, doing my thing.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, I hope you can come back.
I will. I promise. I
Love
promise. I will be
love it.
there.
I would
Yeah.
love it. And I will be there as well, man.
Yeah.
This is great. I'm so glad we got the chance to do this.
Dude,
It
me
is just,
too.
it's a blessing, man. And, great friend for many years. And thank you for sharing your music, making your music as complicated as it is.
Uh,
Thank you for doing it. And, it's become part of my world. And I so
uh,
appreciate that. I so
wow,
appreciate it, man.
means a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for the support. But you're just the questions and what you do. It was the best interview I've ever done. It was really, really cool. I feel a little shameless, like just doing that, like blowing the smoke, but I mean it. Did I ever enjoy talking with you? Thank you
Thank
so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
That
Really,
means that
really enjoy.
means man, that means so much. Thank you. And I come as a fan. It's not really an interview, it's a conversation for me. And then it's getting together with a friend.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just
yeah.
like I say, it's a blessing.
Right.
Let's do it again. Yeah,
Sure.
you've got a couple albums on the books already, and maybe not in the can quite yet, but uh,
Exactly.
it's you'll be making more music year after year. So
No.
we
Yeah.
will do it again for sure.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
All right, love you, my friend. Be
Bye.
well.
You too.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye
Bye.
bye.